I started this podcast, I had no idea that every time I planted my butt in this chair that I would spend way too much time thinking about and considering how to say hello. Like, it's not really awkward in person. Hey, what's up? How's it going? When you see somebody face to face, but it's such a mind game for me every time I hit record. I'm like, how am I gonna say hi to them in a new way that I don't sound really ridiculous and awkward? So if I don't say hello, if I don't welcome you to Oopsie Daisy, just know that you are welcome and it's just implied. So if I don't say hi and we dive in, just roll with it, because I really am happy that you're here spending time with me and happy that you're joining me. I just don't know how to say it without being this little awkward turtle over here. So hi, here we go. I saw a picture of myself yesterday, actually. It had fallen from somewhere above the fridge where all the dust bunnies, let's be real, they're probably like dust Sasquatches from the size of them now. That area on top of the fridge, there's like a cupboard and then the fridge, and there's about 6 inches of space where I'm slightly afraid to stick my hand because I have no idea if anything lives back there and it feels furry and I'm not going to deal with it. So I just put like artwork and like random things back there and then they get lost forever. But something came back out of the furry black hole yesterday. It had fallen on the counter and I came upstairs and I looked at it and it was a picture of me from when I was 4 years old. And in this picture I had just like the biggest, brightest smile on my face, and there was a sparkle in my eyes that was just so innocent. I was holding sparklers and I was probably about to light my head on fire, but I had no idea yet, and I was really pumped about life, and I just was so innocent. And it was before I had gone through really anything. And it kind of confirmed for me this idea that I've been thinking about the last few days about what I would have said to my younger self that my mini me needed to know to really gracefully, successfully, joyfully go through the next 30 plus years. I guess I'd be 34. I'm getting better at math, but I was 4 and I'm 38 now. So the next 34 years took a lot of twists and turns. I'll give you like the 2-second rundown because my story, I think maybe will come in a later podcast. I'm debating on when to talk about it because it gets really deep and it might be like a 12-part series that you might not want to get into quite yet. So let me not tell it for you. I've always been bent towards restlessness and discontent, and it's led me down a lot of wrong paths. I've been on quite an adventure with my husband. When we first met, 3 days after we started dating, he dove into a lake. I pulled him out of the water before he drowned. Turns out his neck was broken. We stayed together through him relearning how to walk and how to feed himself and how to use a pencil and just crazy stuff. He was never supposed to have kids. We ended up in a horrible car accident where we really should have died, but we didn't because God saved us for something we had no idea yet. Got pregnant, had a couple kids. I went off the deep end. Ran away, had affairs, got into drugs, got into witchcraft, demonic stuff, ended up living with somebody when I was divorced my husband. God pulled me up and out of that, called me back to himself so graciously because I was running 1,000 miles in the other direction, and he called me back to himself and really restored my marriage. I ended up remarrying my husband and moving back in with my family, with him and my 2 girls. And just he has really done an incredible redemptive work in my life. And so I'm looking at where I'm at age 38. And I can see all the wrong turns I took, all of the times where I just really lost it a little bit. And just all the things that I've struggled with for so long. And I was just thinking, what would I have said to me if I could have sat me down when I was little, or when I was growing up, or when I was a teenager. And now I have two daughters who are, one's headed to middle school, one's going to fourth grade. And I've been plopped right in the middle of this like gorgeous, fun group of young women in my neighborhood and in my youth group. And I just see so much of myself in them. I don't know, you'd think I'd be grown up by 38, but I guess I'm still waiting for it to happen. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I just see so much of me in them and so much of the figuring out how to navigate the world. And it's this fascinating thing to watch, but it's also scary for me. And it makes my heart ache and be heavy for them because I kind of know what can be up ahead. So I just see where these girls are, and they're all just at the edge of this big world. You know, I think high school, middle school, heading into middle school, these are such impactful ages, and it can be really confusing and really scary. And so I just thought, if I could go back and say anything to myself, or just sit all these fabulous young women down in a group and really be real and say the most important things that I have learned through my life that could really, really impact them, what would I say? So we're going to do that today. And I don't care if you're 5 years old, although I don't know how you ended up on a podcast if you're 5. Like, go find your grown up because maybe you stumbled into the wrong place. But I don't care if you're 5 or 500. You might need to hear this too, because realistically, we're all just growing up. We are. And I don't think I'm ever going to be grown up until the day I die. I'm just not. I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. And so I stumbled on doing a podcast. So here we go. So point number 1, I'm going to lead with the most important point. I thought about putting this one at the end, and we'll probably bookend it and have a discussion about this at the end of the podcast or the end of a series, if this ends up to be a series, whatever. We're going to talk about this again because it's going to make a lot of sense at the end, but I need to tell you right now, if there is, when I'm going to cry. Like, why am I already going to cry? Here we go. My eyes leak. If I was going to sit you down and tell you the one key to figuring life out, run hard after Jesus. It doesn't matter what else you do, because everything you are looking for, every joy, every excitement, every security, every sense of validation and appreciation and excitement and adventure, any other place that you go to find those things that is outside of God is going to lead you nowhere. And you might feel it for a little while, and it might be fun for a little while, but it will not last, and it will not make you whole, and it will not heal you, and it will not allow you to live the life that you want to live. So everything else that we're going to talk about on this podcast, I cannot believe I'm crying already. Oh my gosh, I just put self-tanner on my face this morning. It can be all streaky. Oh, this one got real. So anything else that we talk about, the very first thing that you need to do is run hard after God. And when I mean run hard after God, I mean you need to know Him, have a relationship with Him, allow Him to lead you, allow Him to guide you, allow Him to be your best friend. Let Him and what He says about you in the Bible, let that shape your identity. Because anything else in this world that you try to define yourself with, you're going to get bent sideways. It just is what it is. It's not going to work. So we're going to touch back on that at the end. But everything I'm saying to you today only are found in God. So that's point number 1. Run hard after Jesus and have a relationship with Jesus, because everything else will fall into place. It's not going to be easy along the way. It's not. You're still going to have twists and turns and mountains and valleys, and things are going to get hard, and you're going to get hurt, and you're going to be sad. But you will have the creator of the universe walking through it with you, And I tell you what, it makes it manageable, it makes it hopeful, it makes it worth it. And I know the difference. I've done it. I've run towards other things. The only way to do it. Okay? So that's point number 1. I don't care if you press pause now. That's really like it. That's the only important thing I need to say to you. Okay? Well, we're going to keep going for number 2 because this one's been on my heart a lot. And this is something that I say to my kids, and I've actually said to some adult women too, is the fact that not everybody is meant to cross the finish line with us. And here's what I mean by that. The Bible compares our life to a race that we're running. And when I think about my life and the people that have come and gone from my life, I see so much hurt and so much chaos or a feeling of just being out of control that has come from trying to hold people that I love in just like my tightly gripped little hands so that I don't lose them. And this could be boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, anybody, acquaintances. There are people that will come and go. When people have been in your life for a while and they leave, it's going to leave a hole. It is. And it's going to hurt when they go. And you might wonder if it was something that you did. And sometimes it might be. But the ultimate reality is that God will bring your people, your tribe, who you are really meant to run the race with. He'll bring those people around you, and you don't have to go try to find them. No, I'm not saying to just like sit in your house and watch Netflix all the time and never meet anybody. I mean, can God use that? Yeah, okay, yeah. But like, let's make it a little bit easier by getting out of the house, by talking to people, all of that. The truth of the matter is that there are phases of life and there are seasons of life. And as you grow and as you change and as you transition into these different phases of life, there are times when God will separate you from people that you thought very deep in your heart, from your head to the bottom of your tippy-toe soul, that you were going to spend the rest of your life with. And ultimately, you might not. One of the best things that I've learned is to hold people loosely. There are people that only need to be in your life for a year or two, for a few. You're going to end up changing schools. You're going to end up changing jobs. Your friend group is going to change. You might lose friends after you make a terrible decision and then decide to isolate yourself. I mean, these are real things that happen. But you need to trust that God is going to bring you to the people who you will do life with. Truth of the matter is, you will outgrow people. And that is okay. Because if God is leading your life, you are never going to stop growing. You're never going to be the person that you were 5 years ago. Well, and thank the Lord for that. If I was the person I was 5 years ago, I would be doing drugs in a dirty little house and just be a disaster of a human being and be unbelievably anxious, depressed, sad, just wrong. Every part of my life wrong. So what I want to say about that is rest easy. Watch people come and watch people go and trust that they're there for a reason. God will bring you to people that you need, but also He will bring other people to you, into your circle that need you. But as you grow and change and mature and just go through different phases of your life, you don't have to fight so hard to stay connected. The people that God means for you to run your race with will stay, and it will be way less work than you think it is. Granted, relationships do take work. Having connections and friendships, that takes some intentional work and reaching out and staying connected to people. But there's not this sense of desperate gripping where if I don't see you for a day or if I don't text you for a day, we're not friends anymore and you must be mad at me. No. If you're getting that sense from somebody else, if somebody is doing that to you, that's a red flag. But if you're doing that to somebody else and thinking that about somebody else, check yourself. Check yourself, take a step back, and just let God handle it. because it's entirely possible that you are clinging and hanging on way too tightly to a relationship that needs to die. And I think we live in this society where we think that disconnecting from people is always a bad thing, and it's not. There are certain people, I guarantee you, in your life right now that God is pushing on you or causing a disconnect with that person. Guarantee it. So how do you disconnect with grace? Because it might not be a fight. You might not get split up by a fight. This might be a choice that you have where you can say to somebody, you know what, I really appreciate the time that we have spent together, but God is taking me in a new direction. And it's possible to love somebody from farther away. You do not have to be connected to somebody every single day to love them well, to pray for them, to really want to see the best for their life, but you're just not sharing every tiny detail of your day, of your heart, of your walk with God with them. Because sometimes we outgrow people. And sometimes it's time to shut the door that person has to your life, that open door that gives them room and space to really speak into your life and be a guiding voice and a supporting voice. There are times when that door needs to shut. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in my own life, that the closer I walked with God and the more obedient I am to the Lord, He has trimmed some of my relationship. He has moved me away from people that I thought I was going to do life with for a long time. And that was really hard for me to let go for a while, until I realized that the best way to handle relationships is for me not to handle them at all. Here's what I mean. I mean getting on my knees and saying, I have no idea. God, you know better than I do. Your thoughts are higher than my thoughts. Your ways are higher than my ways. God, I don't know if you put this person in my life because I'm supposed to be best friends with them or really close to them, or if you actually want me to take a step back and just put like some protection around myself because this person is going to influence me away from you. I have no idea. And I've been wrong before. I've been very wrong before when I use my own judgment to decide what's best for me in my relationships. And so the best way to do it, give it to God and say, your will be done, God, because you know what's best for me, but you also know who is best for me. And then just trust Him to bring you to the people you need, and that He'll guide you when there's people around you that you are supposed to help and minister to. And if you ask Him to, and just back up and stop controlling it, He will absolutely move and shift people and groups of people in your life in a way that once your hands are off of it and you're no longer making the decision, it'll be pretty obvious to you who's for you, who's supposed to walk by you, and who's not. Because He knows what's best for you, and He knows who is best for you way better than you do. So let's recap real quick. Number one, most important thing that I need to leave with you is that without Jesus, nothing else matters. Have a relationship with Him. Know Him. Let Him forgive your sins. Let Him redeem you and guide you. Number two, let people go. Hold the people you love in a very, very loose hand so that you can allow God to work in their lives and also God to work in your life to help you walk with the people that you're supposed to be walking with. And those people will not be the same throughout the entire span of your life. Okay, that was way more than I thought was going to happen today. So we're going to cap it at our first 2 points. Tune in again. Next podcast, we're going to talk about some more memos to mini-me, things that we wish we could have said to our younger selves to kind of help us along through life. I'm really parched. I need to go get some water. Thanks for tuning in to Oopsie Daisy. We'll see you next time.